My name is Erzsébet Tamás. People call me Eliza, or as my dear family, they say Biji. It's up to you what you choose. I'm very happy with both. I'm an artistic practitioner with more than 30 years of experience in the world of puppet theater. For 2 decades, I served as the lead actress at Kabóca Puppet Theater, Veszprém in Hungary, and I also undertook management and directing roles. In the UK, I worked as a freelancer, established my own puppet theater company, and worked with other puppetry professionals. Currently, I'm living in Finland, and then I serve as the chief editor of Nukke Teatteri Lehti, which is the Finnish Unima's puppetry magazine. I'm overseeing both the printed and the online version of the magazine as well. The online magazine just launched last month, so feel free to check it out. Go online, nukketeatterilehti.com. I'm also a board member of Suomen Unima Finland. I feel fortunate to have had the opportunity to travel to Iceland and interview Bernd Ogrodnik, the esteemed puppeteer, in his own workshop filled with amazing, beautiful wooden carved creatures. His intricate work showcased remarkable artistry and craftsmanship, and I was captivated by the variety of the materials and techniques that he employs. Since 1986, Bernd Ogrodnik has been a key player in the puppetry scene. He is the artistic director and co-founder of the Icelandic Center for Puppetry Arts and has held the position of master puppeteer at the National Theatre of Iceland. His work has taken him across Europe, Canada, USA, Asia, where he has performed, directed, taught, and lectured at various international puppet theater festivals, universities, and conferences. Bernd has created countless different types of puppets for numerous theaters and operas globally, as well as for collectors, museums, commercials, television, and film. He has also earned international acclaim for his innovative role as a designer and lead puppeteer in the marionette epic film Strings, which was shown in the cinemas worldwide. The film was nominated and received multiple awards at various film festivals. Bernd Ogrodnik has personally been honored with multiple grants and awards both in Iceland and internationally. He feels very important to share his knowledge with everyone, so he established his puppet mastery with Bernd Ogrodnik, the Academy of the Wooden Puppet. His academy method and approach is revolutionary, as it allows you to explore puppetry from both technical and artistic angles. It offers a truly holistic, comprehensive experience. Our conversation offered insight into his creative processes, inspirations, challenges, and his passion for storytelling through puppetry was infectious. The experience was more than just an interview. It was a journey into creativity, leaving me grateful for the knowledge and memories I gained. I hope you will enjoy the interview. Feel free to contact and leave comments. artexplorers22@gmail.com. Enjoy! I have a pleasure being here in Reykjavik, Iceland, with Bernd Ogrodnik, the renowned puppeteer and artist. Hello, Bernd.
Hello, very nice to have you.
Thank you so much for having here. Thank you so much for doing the interview with me.
Welcome to our workshop in Iceland.
Thank you. Could I take you back to the beginning? When did you start being a puppeteer? What brought you into this world? How were you influenced?
Ooh, that's actually a very interesting question. When did I start being a puppeteer? I will deviate a little bit.
You were born to
Well,
be a puppeteer.
we are all born being a puppeteer. This is something I remind people of that think, oh, I'm new to this. When they start as an adult, so like, kids use objects and animate them. And this is what puppeteers do for a living. So
Yep.
everyone has been a puppeteer in their lives. So that's very important to have in mind. So meaning this is something natural to all of us. Right? We take an object, we play, it's a Barbie doll, even animating a car. Brum, brum, brum.
Yeah.
This is what puppeteers do for a living. So we all have this background and we all have this need for it. We have the need to be for theater, for puppeteering. And then just of course most people forget, become serious adults, and others make a living out of it later on. And so, get back to the question. I got really hooked specifically to puppetry when I was 6-7 years old by seeing a puppet show in Germany where I grew up. And
Was it a real puppet show, real life, or
no, it
TV
was
show?
actually a television program by the famed Augsburger Puppenkiste. All people of my generation will remember. It was a marionette show, I would say, a series once a week with beautifully wooden carved puppets, and it completely pulled me in. I got hooked. Yes.
Same day of the week, same time, you run to watch the puppet
Yes,
show.
and that was the only thing. I was never, until today, I don't even have a television. I was never a big fan of television, and it was that one, and later on the Muppet shows, of course, that really
Yeah.
made me sometimes, come inside and watch a little television. And, yeah.
Did you immediately start creating puppets? Or
Yes,
just started later.
yes, I was. But I think what I was fascinated by was the ability to create worlds by simple means, which of course is the superpower of children. They create worlds. They create things from nothing, seemingly nothing, from sticks and stones, and I love that. And my parents also really nourished that. I had a little space in my room where I could go wild, and
that's lovely. You got the support from them.
yes. But then, for me, classical music took over. I studied music and later healing arts and all kind of things. And it was not until I was 25 that I decided now I want to be a professional puppeteer.
And the puppetry just was
Yes.
creeping back into your life unnoticeably.
Yeah, well, it was always there, but I just have a lot of interests, and I found that in puppetry serves as a beautiful umbrella for
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah,
interests.
it's quite a complex one.
that
And
I have, yes.
by now they took over your life.
Look at that. I have no bed.
I understand that you've got a very strong connection to nature and especially to trees. Can you elaborate on that, where it's coming from, and what does it mean to you?
It means the world to me. It is the world. I, for some reason, always had this. I was, I think, rather introverted as a child and felt extremely comfortable in the forest and just out in nature. And even during school days, which I wasn't too crazy about, I loved all my friends, but school itself wasn't really my thing. When I was older, I would get up really early and often go to the forest before I would go to the school. So it was always there, and yes.
That kind of crazy child.
Yes, it's
rather wake up early than.
yes, there was only one profession.
sleep in.
Yes, and it was always there, and I think it's. I'm very grateful for this, because it gives me tremendous strength. It is my connection to nature wherever I go. I know I travel, the world doing performances, and promoters always say, well, what can we do for you? Just take me somewhere in nature. I love to see also cultural places, but show me the nature of the place. And I immediately normally connect, and that is something, and then you connect to the world, and then you become part of it, and that is, and it tremendous wealth and tremendous power. Something else I really want to pass on, nurture it in young children, like all my grandkids now, and but also passes on to my students of puppetry.
Yeah.
And that's one reason also why I love to focus very much on wooden puppets. I mean, I use all kind of puppets, but I love the material. It's absolutely amazing, and it's wonderful also to see students' journey. I think they
Yeah.
just make puppets, but it goes so much deeper, and the connection to wood, learning about wood, and
Yeah.
looking at the world in a completely new way is very important. And maybe, well, it's always important, but we are in a very critical state in our like human evolution, where everything becomes technicized more and more and more. We have artificial intelligence. Everything is run by the push of a button. People are hooked to their cell phones and wake up with these radiations, with these,
Yeah.
with this constant stream of random information, that we keep the connection to nature and realize that we are actually still part of nature. We always have the division there.
Yeah.
When we say like, I go to the nature over the weekend. Well, you are still nature. This is flesh and blood. And when we lose this connection, like we're in danger of doing, like many people have done, and then we will also lose the desire to protect it. We only protect what we know. That's really what we want to protect, what we love. So when we lose our love and connection, or the conscious of our connection to nature, then well, we see what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah, and then maybe it's some sort of art form to find the balance between the meditative power of the nature and especially wood carving. It's really a meditative craft and art form, and then between the digitalized world, which is a very important part of our life too.
Yes, I mean, obviously we're using that one. Hello, everyone, through the technical lens of a camera. It's yes, I mean, I run an online school, of course, at that point inspired by COVID, but which makes it now possible to connect with people all over the world, all regions of the world. So there's a lot of great stuff, but we have to realize that we can choose, and that we should be the master of the game. And we should also realize that, for example, artificial intelligence is neither artificial nor is it intelligent. There are powers and there are people behind it, and we have to be aware of that. And so let's stay in charge.
We're talking about the healing power and the creativity of puppetry. And then you said that the world needs for people's creativity to flourish. And let me just properly say, the world needs for us to create more magic and joy. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes. I have a bunch of grandkids, growing number, and my youngest one just turned 1 year old, and I'm loving to just observe his tremendous spirit, his tremendous creativity, and this absolutely open mind with which he comes to the world. But always something is happening, because he has parents, he has grandparents, he's going to daycare now. He has great parents that really nurture him and help him to discover the world. But it's very important for us to realize what has happened to us, as people that, watching this interview, that are adults now, what has happened to their life, what has happened to this creativity that they shared with, like, my grandchild, this unbeatable, undisturbed, unstoppable spirit of, I'm going to discover the world, I'm going to learn to walk, even though he falls off, he will learn to walk, nothing will stop him, he's almost there now, right? And this unbelievable creativity, as we mentioned before, to create worlds from sticks and stones, to make a superhero out of a whatever, right? Most adults have lost that, because they have been conditioned by their surroundings.
Yeah, probably we try to be accepted by everyone.
Yeah, we are accepted by our surroundings
Surroundings,
that are
yes.
is conditioning.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're the first the parents, grandparents, family around there. Then comes daycare, kindergarten, school,
Yeah.
church, religion. Very strong for a lot of people. Very conditioning. Possibly then the army or the whole country, and so we're in a little rat race there. It goes and it's accelerating more and more and more.
Yeah.
And
We don't leave time
yes.
or just process and take a little bit of break for ourselves.
Yes, and well, with this conditioning comes a judgment, right? And we experience this in our courses a lot. People start to carve and they immediately beat themselves up. Oh, I can't do this yet.
Yeah.
I suck at this. I'm a turtle. I'm slow. And we
And
always
comparing to each other.
comparing, and then you
Yeah.
have some people in there that are very advanced because they've done it for a few years, and then oh, they're so good. I suck. It's like, where does it come from? My grandchild doesn't have this. He really sucks at walking right now, right? If you would look at it from an adult mind, and it's not pretty. Of course, it's tremendously cute, right? But it's a spirit.
Yeah.
Nothing will stop him. But of course, with art, it happens for so many, and so many of our adult students, they can even recollect. I often guide them back to this moment where some adult, some person with authority, did extinguish this cloud. I studied classical music and I know what I'm talking about in that sense. The judgmental, they're more, at least where I grew up, it was very serious education. More kids actually lost the interest in music than the final few that tried to be the new Rubinstein. So it's very tricky. If you, as a growing child, you're very fragile, right? And people of authority are often not aware how powerful they are, and instead of nurturing, they put down, and we put value, become a lawyer, become a doctor. That is valued. How many people do know that wanted to be an artist, but get a real job, right? But art, as we start off with, right, is very powerful, is very important. Kids not only do theater because they want entertainment, because it's fun. No, they process life immediately. If you watch kids play, you hear the parents talk. They process life, So, and what happened to all that in adulthood?
Yeah, and it does make sense because that brings joy to our life, and then if we are nurturing ourselves, then we can give to our surrounding, and then that can grow, and then that might end up in a happier world.
That's true. We need to nurture ourselves. Very, very important. But it is to really find the own voice. That is the tricky part. Like, who are you? Who do you want to be? Who you're supposed to be, not supposed to be by the conditioning environment, right? That has its own agenda. And this is, we've talked about this in our courses, in our mastermind program. We talk about vision quest, something modern world has lost. Most Aboriginal societies had as an integral part of their upbringing, stepping into adulthood, you were sent away from the tribe, from the parents, from the safe environment, be alone, go on a fast, go on a meditation, and then hopefully out of that would spring face your fears, loneliness, all these kind of existential human emotions, and then out of that would normally spring a vision that would tell them who they were. Meaning, what is your creativity? Who is in there? Who are you? How will you best serve your tribe? And knowing that, find that in your own space, and then you can go back to the tribe and say, hey, I'm a doctor. I'm a healer. And I'm going to be a doctor not because I had good grades in school or because it pays very well. I'm a healer. That's why I want to be a doctor. Big difference if I know how it happens in our society, right? Or I want to be a policeman, or I want to be a teacher. I want to work with children. I want to be a puppeteer.
Yes.
Right?
Cheers. Do you feel that puppetry engages audience differently?
Differently
Compared to normal traditional theater where human beings are performing.
Yes, puppet theater has very unique possibilities. for that, it's good to realize what the true power of puppets is, and that is, in my extent, not to make copies of real life, not to try to imitate, but to use its metaphorical language. Meaning, like in the world of cartoons or pictures, we can distort. By distortion, by exaggeration, we can make a point stronger.
Yeah.
Right? So, very important, I think, for puppet artists to realize that they have this superpower. Right? Very often you see puppet shows, people love puppets and then just they use them like they would use actors. It's nice, can be pretty, can be cute, can be nice, but there's more potential there. And the true power is metaphoric language, is distortion. I don't know, try out some puppets. It's like you can make a puppet without a mouth, right? It's a puppet without a mouth. Big eyes, big ears. Comes on stage, it already makes a statement. Oh, that's a puppet that doesn't talk. It just observes, listens. For an actor to get the same result, he would have to act for, I don't know, a few minutes to get the same result. Right? So, in that sense, puppets are extremely powerful. There's another element to that, which is the world of make-believe, which once again ties into the childhood. Right? You believe, you make believe, you suspend disbelief, and if I now would go down to finding the true magic point, the magic moment of puppetry is when three elements come together. The three elements are hopefully a clever designed puppet in the middle. I say not complicated, I say cleverly designed, consciously designed. Not just, you don't build it just because it's how you overbuild. Why do you choose this type of puppet? Why do you choose this size, these kind of eyes, marionette, rod puppet, this kind of face, right? Cleverly designed puppet, hopefully a well-trained puppeteer that animates this puppet, brings it to life. Now the crucial element is the audience. And when these two are well done, the puppet and the puppeteer doing a good job and animating it, then through this communication, the audience will believe, and they will give the energy of belief. That is a measurable energy. It's all about energy. Scientists even measure these kind of things. Thought can be measured, right? So when they just stay and believe the puppet, then they send energy to this one, and this, I call it the holy trinity of puppetry. And as a puppeteer, you know when that happens. You know the moment. And it's just like something wonderful. It's very silent, no fanfares, it's just boom. And that's the power of puppetry. And it moves worlds, it changes lives. And you can, through that means, for example, address issues. I wouldn't know how to address it more powerfully than with puppets. Shall I give an example to make this more clear?
Yes, please. That would be amazing.
I have a wonderful piece, wonderful in exclamation marks, about sexual abuse. And how about I have the puppet here.
Yeah,
You can stay here, because I have this puppet here. Okay. Now, not a happy story, but important story, because it happens still all the time, all around us. Now this puppet, which is now partially disconnected.
Let's make sure that.
Oh, she's in the middle right here. Now, it's a piece from our adult performance called Metamorphosis. No words, right? Now she's normally performed in a black box setting, and she has, these are little marbles. These are eyes that I can light from the inside. We won't see it here now with the spotlights. So, but the eyes lit up, and she obviously has wings. They're not properly connected now. Actually, I just broke them off. Not very charming. I needed to fix this puppet. Anyhow, so she has wings, and
that's visible that you definitely played quite a lot of times with this one.
Yeah, but I've been not using her for a long time. But so in that piece, we have this beautiful puppet. You can see it's a young lady just growing into her body, and she's just basically flying around. The wings symbolize the power of youth. You're flying undisturbed. Glowing eyes, another powerful metaphoric language. And she attends in the story to a flower, and then she falls asleep, and then you just fall in love with her grace, with her beauty in the innings, and she just lies down asleep. And then, if you want to hold
Yes,
her
I
for a
would love to.
second,
Thank
poor
you.
lady that.
I was trying to figure out how to ask him. Can
I'll be
I
right
hold
back.
her? Thank
Ladies and
you.
gentlemen.
Lovely.
Not gone yet, but this will make a strong point. Now we have this puppet, which is actually the offender, the abuser.
Yeah,
He's just made from a hardly carved piece of wood, and I just used a silk scarf and my own hands, and he does a very horrible deed that we're not going to demonstrate here now.
very simple puppet. But,
Very simple puppet.
but very,
So he,
looking very powerful.
in the performance, abuses her, and then he moves out of the frame again, and then the puppeteer comes back, tries to lift her up, but the light switches off in her eyes, and the wings, I basically break them there right
Yeah.
now. The wings just are broken then, and then the puppeteer, and she just doesn't manage to stand up anymore, and I just lift her up and carry her out. It breaks hearts, and just this this simple storyline has brought out so many discussions, has brought out, even my team that worked with me, for the first time people talked about cases that has happened. So just by these wooden puppets. Now I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on these two characters. They're, by the way, both made from Arctic birch. That's the kind of wood I use in Iceland
Beautiful.
sometimes. From the same tree. The audience doesn't know that. I know that. But it's all
That's
about
an
energy.
extra meaning. That's
It's an extra meaning.
for
They're
you.
made from the
Yeah.
same kind of wood, right? Now, she's a little bit more elaborately. She doesn't have hair right now because in the lessons we open up the head to see how she's done inside. But here's now the crucial thing to explain a little bit more what I mentioned earlier. You can see that he's hardly carved. Well, we often do Q&As, question and answer, after the performance because we do unusual things. People have a lot of questions. So, but we made a test, and then I asked a question to the audience and said, like, do you remember the abuser, the offender? Can you describe how he looked like? And very, very often people describe a very intricate face, from eyebrows, from the color of hair, mouth being in a certain way, to the color of the eyes. I'm not joking there. So he had green eyes, and so meaning the audience actively participated. The audience actively participated in the making of the puppet.
That is very, very interesting. So you entirely engaged the
Yes.
audience,
Yes.
and their imagination went wild.
Yes. They co-created with me
That's beautiful.
this puppet.
That's beautiful because this puppet
Let's
is
put
just
it to rest.
this puppet is just a very, very general puppet.
Yes.
There are no eyes, and then just a general shape carved, and it's amazing that
Puppetry magic. That's what happens. The audience made it complete. This is obviously not a complete puppet, right? But
Yeah.
you suspend disbelief, and you believe in this character, and you help create him. You get engaged.
yeah.
And when you engage in this way, you go through the emotions, and that is, for example, why this piece is so powerful.
And then probably, if I understand well, then a puppet show can, even for the creator, can be some sort of healing process for a traumatic event. And also as an audience, like the fourth wall, the audience is sitting there and they're actively participating and imagining, and then someone imagining a black eye, a brown eye, different shapes of the face and the features. So then probably it's the whole process is differently engaging the people's mind. It's a very interesting power of the puppetry.
It's also very important to have in mind the power you have. So it is so everything we do matters. Everything we do has an impact. It has an impact. The energy proceeds. So also, like, of course, when you now do things like that, you have to be fully aware of the impact that you can have on the audience. Meaning, are you ready to catch it? Are you ready to what I mean by that is, we have to be very cautious that and you see this sometimes when artists just kind of like, and I call this like throwing up on the audience. You just like let something out.
And
you
deal with
know.
that. Deal with that.
And they're just, it's okay to stun, to provoke, to just, but you have to be conscious. Is this what you want? What is the effect that you want to have? Do you want to provoke? Do you want to heal? Do you want to educate? Do you want to inspire? All that power is in your hands as a puppeteer, and you need to be conscious about that.
Do you think a pandemic had effect on puppetry art?
Yes, I mean yes, 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 it does.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
There are a lot of things. Well, the Academy of the Wooden Puppet, that has now thousands of students from around the world, wouldn't have happened without the pandemic. When the pandemic reached Iceland here, I had just premiered and managed to premiere a new piece that was years in the making, semi-autobiographic piece for adults. It was an adult performance here at the National Theatre of Iceland. We premiered, and then the house was closed down.
No.
And we waited, and I realized very quickly this is not going to go away. So I said, like, I gotta do something else, and I felt I had, most artists here went on, unemployment. They got kind of funds, and I felt like I think I have another choice. I wanted to do online teaching. When I get old, I thought I want to do it. Would have never happened because I was always fully booked 2 years in advance, touring the world, and so I took the challenge. I took the opportunity to try it out. Did a small foundation course, and it took over my life. So it's been we celebrate this month 4th year of the Academy.
Congratulations.
So in that sense, it impacted me. I know a lot of performers, and I'll back up a little. Once again, I will not. And what I'm doing now and what I'm saying now is not belittling the challenges of the pandemic. That is really difficult, So if you're a performer and you can't perform anymore, what are you going to do? So if people, got support from the government, I absolutely support that. Yes. I saw a lot of performers that immediately panicked. Live performers that then started to stream the shows online. So they don't forget me. So I'm still there, right? And I will not do this, because my live performances are a live event. And I've made movies, I've done a lot of television stuff, so I either produce for the screen or do live. But I will not start streaming my live performances.
Probably the
Right.
magic of the here and now.
Yes, so I didn't do that. Other people did that. I don't know how well it did for them, right? I know a lot of artists that really just went into a rabbit hole, like many artists they froze and didn't know what to do. And then I know some artists that were so creative and made the best out of it, right? I know one great artist, even Mark, Mark that is working with me in the Academy of the Wooden Puppet. He started doing door-to-door shows. You could hire him. He would bring a puppeteer. He would stand inside of the window.
Lovely.
And would do a little show, right? And brilliant, right? And he it did so much to himself. He learned so much. He made some great money. People were happy, So just one of many possible ideas. So at the end, it's very often it's a personal choice. Once again, we talked about the internet, right? That we have the chance to turn it off if you want to, right? Not become a slave of it. If there's a trauma, if there's something happening in life, how do I make it through it? I've been very interested by people, because by my German background, by people that made it through concentration camps. How did they do it? What spirit did they connect to? What inner spirit did they have to actually survive this? How would they keep finding humanity in the most perverse situations? And I think you see this with people that have a trauma that maybe we all have experiences, right? Like you have a day, you have it good, you have to eat, maybe didn't sleep well, maybe the finances are a little bit rough, right? But you have millions of things to be grateful for, and still you wake up and like, day sucks, and then
And it's your choice how to.
yes, and
to
then you go
approach the day.
outside, right, and there comes this young person in a wheelchair, no legs left, and he's smiling at you,
Yeah.
and you go like, oh, namaste, my master, and it's you kind of understand what I'm saying. So like
Yes,
COVID.
absolutely, yeah.
Possibilities, review, yes,
Yeah.
go online, make,
Yeah.
now all kind of online events have started. A lot of schools are out there now, people have gone online. Now more and more information is available.
Yeah.
We got, I got weekly emails, inquiries, can I come and study with you? And then, yes, I would take interns in because, it's important to do this, brought them in for projects, they would work here. But it's just then one here and there, and it's actually
Yeah.
very tough to deal with when you're in the production mode,
Yeah.
right? And now, I said I filmed this. We filmed everything with 3 cameras
Absolutely.
over my
Brilliant.
shoulder, much better. So people
Brilliant.
that came as interns, they loved it, but they say yes, get more out of this. So now
Yeah.
it started a new movement of using the internet, using in a good sense. Information is there. So we can teach more, we can learn more. It's all at our fingertips.
But we got to a very important part of our discussion. The information are widely available. And then the secrets that they were hidden for centuries from puppeteers, how to make a joint, how to make a marionette puppet, the different type of controllers, and then they were very, very cautiously kept with themselves, and now it's widely available. How do you feel about it?
I feel it's great.
Especially you've got.
It's like,
Yeah.
I way before COVID, I made that decision as soon as Facebook started. Is that like, this is a great
Just
medium.
spread, yeah.
Yeah, so when, and I'm known for having developed a lot of great techniques from the marionette
Yeah.
movie strings to have all these one-hand control techniques, and I immediately posted those on Facebook. I grew up in Germany, and there was a lot of secrecy around techniques and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this. This is crap. This is a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. So this comes from a humble acceptance that whatever you think you have invented has at least been influenced by somebody else. So I met a lot of grateful teachers that shared their knowledge with me, and so if I now spend the whole summer or a whole year developing a new technique, here you go, right? Why should someone else try to do the same thing, right? You pass it on, then it's energy. It has to flow. It has to be in a circle. And then what happens? Then we can elevate this art form. And this is what this is all about. I believe in this art form, right? And so the more we share, the more information we put out there, the better this art form becomes, the more powerful, the more we can impact the world,
And it might be a little bit more competitive, but I think it might be just a good thing, because then if something is a little bit, not too much, but a little bit competitive, it probably... Or what do you think about that side of it?
I don't have... what does competition mean? It was Paul Vincent Davis, a wonderful puppeteer from Boston. He was the artistic director of the Puppet Playhouse in Boston, specializing on hand puppets. Absolutely wonderful man. He said, and I took it from him, the only competition you have to worry about
Yours.
is bad quality. Ha! Listen to that. The only competition you have to worry about is bad quality. That is very intelligent. I explain what it means, because I really thought about this a lot. I'm living here in Iceland now, right? Or let's say you want to come to Iceland, you want to do a performance here. And let's say you want to perform for school or kindergarten, right? And you call up, hey, my name is so-and-so, I come from here. I have a presentation I want to offer you. And then the person says, 2 things can happen. The person says, well, what is it that you do? And you say, I'm a puppeteer. Now the person says, well, we had a puppeteer last month.
Yeah.
Wasn't good. It didn't hold the kids. Teachers didn't know what to do with it. I think I'm going to try the musician next time. Or, oh yes, we had a puppeteer here last month. He was great. He engaged the kids. They're still talking about it. The teachers used the material for the curriculum, So what puppets do you do? That is only bad quality is bad for you. And then besides that comes a healthy kind of competition, but it's sharing.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
I've seen this more and more in most festivals, especially in North America, also in Europe, wherever I go in Asia. After the show, if it's for puppeteers, a festival, open the stage, share your techniques, show how it was done. Give constructive, kind feedback. We are, and I go a little further. It's okay. Yes.
Yes, please.
We are often missing opportunities also within Unima, and I'm going straight to the core here. There is a challenge in puppetry that it is so much practiced just as a hobby, but we also have this in music, right? So, and it's a hobby, awesome, great. If it's your hobby, do whatever you want. Awesome. If you call yourself professional, I have certain expectations. Should I keep going? My expectations are the same that I have from my dentist. And why do I bring the dentist into play? Because everyone understands. When you go to the dentist, you want that this dentist is completely sober, well rested, his hands are not shaking, he has the best equipment, he has taken the latest course on how to set an injection that you don't have any pain. So you have very clear criteria that you expect from this dentist. I have the same from a professional puppeteer. Why are you using this puppet? Why are you using this control system? You have to be educated to make full use. I'm using this type of puppet for this show because it works the best because it's on those. I'm using this control, this type of marionette control because da 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 da.
That's exactly what you always emphasize in
Yes.
your course, making educated choices.
Making educated choices.
You must have your skills,
Yes.
you must have your knowledge and understanding, and then it needs to serve the purpose.
Then you make full use of your power.
Exactly.
Back to Unima, where do we learn? I mean, people take courses, but there is this whole thing about puppetry, like, for example, which puppeteer rehearses on a daily basis? Just rehearse. Not just for a show. Rehearse. Every musician needs to do this. Every professional classical musician rehearses for 4 to 6 to 8 hours a day. That's how they do this.
Of course, that's the same with puppets.
Which puppeteer does that with their puppets?
Your
I leave it open.
fingers are getting rusty.
I leave it open, right? So so the challenge is that we do not have an educated audience like we have in classical music.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's say you want to be a street musician. No matter where you are, you go here in Reykjavik or in your country, or you go to New York City, Detroit, wherever you go, and you say you want to play the fiddle, your instrument has to be in tune. Right? Only 4 strings. It has to be in tune, and you don't have to be like Carnegie Hall quality, but you have to be good. You have to be good. You have to really know what you're doing. Otherwise, people will not put a cent in your box there. Puppetry, anybody can pick up any piece of puppet, especially a string puppet, and he could go wiggle it around a little bit, and he would attract a crowd, many of which would say, "This is the cutest thing I've ever seen." Principally, nothing wrong with that. Hey, brings some joy. That's fine, but it doesn't challenge the puppeteer.
Now that's why I felt the changing landscape of puppetry is a very important topic for me personally, because what I can see that puppeteers are evolving. Whoever feels the importance of learning more and then improving their skills, they are widely available, the information.
But not really. It's not really widely available, because it is like let's say you want to work on marionettes. Right? What books are on the marionettes? There's some great books on marionettes. Among, if you just list one, Lumen Coates, the Marionette Source Book,
Yes.
which shows you pretty much all the main types of controls that are there, all the different kind of joints. So it's a beautiful, valuable book. But if you now study this book, it doesn't tell you why this control is more suitable for this specific education. I go back to Unima. My wish for the organization of Unima and the possibility there, that we focus on more precise education, and that we also keep the puppet alive. Meaning that we, that we do create a library like we have that in music. Right? Unima gave out the book about all the listed puppeteers, the big thing first in French, and then it was in English online, about certain puppeteers. Let's make a book. Talk to all the puppeteers, great people. People like, let's say marionettes, if I just managed to do a Philip Huber, Ronnie Burkett, right? And people that have really have this immense wisdom, get these techniques all in one book. That these techniques...
Exactly, then you know where to search.
Yes.
If you want to research, and then if you've got the mindset, and if you've got the all the effort that you want to put into. We were talking quite a lot about your online course. I know you've started, and you mentioned you started in pandemic time, and we already covered my question, that what made you start. May I ask, how many students did you have throughout these 4 years? Yeah.
I think we're getting now to actually have to do some research, because some of the students started the foundation course, then they did the academy, and then some now in what I call the mastermind program, which is a follow-up program, and
it's a very, very holistic.
It's a very
program. It's not just because me personally, I'm part of the academy as well, and the mastermind program, and I'm really enjoying not just not only step-by-step teaching how to create a puppet, different types of puppets, but it's a very, very complex, holistic approach to puppetry and even life. So definitely, it's a big thank you for you.
Thank you so much for saying that. Yes. What was the question? We lost the question.
Yeah, we lost a lot of questions. Questions just like ping, pum, pum, jumping and disappearing. Sometimes they are coming back. How many students?
How many students? Yeah, it's like, see, in my programs I do online, I do also a lot of free stuff. That's of course just to people get to know me, and I run these sometimes a week-long free webinar for masterclasses, and tens of thousands have literally participated in that, and basically got a chance there to start to really get a feeling of the depth of possibilities in this art form, or even now just even start carving. And then people that have taken the courses, we're getting close to 1,000 people that have now really, but not everyone is going all the way. Most start the foundation course, where we learn the little guy there. Don't bring this one out, but then we have the academy where we're focusing more on building, but we always, as you mentioned, we put the importance of drinking tea and silence. Cheers.
Cheers to that. Cheers.
Silence to here. I'm just bubbling on. But then I felt
cheers
always...
to puppetry, cheers to life,
yes.
Trees, nature.
But once people that finish the academy, they have the technical abilities to build whatever they want to build. And that's what this is about. That you make, as you said, educated choices. You have all these techniques. You know how to use these kind of tools to create. And my goal is, to create whatever you want to create for your specific program. So a lot of my puppets are hybrid puppets. They're combinations of string, rod, and other techniques. And my dream for my students is always that I meet them after a few years and they have made a new technique. They teach me something, right? So first part focusing more on this one, and then we created what we call the mastermind program, which is an additional 12 master classes, of which the first and the second are the most important. It's about mindset, and that I think can we talk about this?
Yes, I would love to.
You have your questions about it's because it's like I adore this art form. I love this art form, and and to strengthen artists in releasing their full creativity, their full power. Yes, it needs technique, but it also needs then, for example, financial survival. If you want to live as an artist, how do you make a living? If you're a professional, you run a business. and I feel already a lot of people that are listening to the interview like, oh, business, I don't like
No,
business.
because when it comes
Yes.
to arts, it's some sort of bad thing. So many instances in artist mind.
In artists' minds, that's right. So I've seen so many.
Maybe it's because of the starving artist picture, which was the big part of.
Shall we go there? Shall we go there?
Then it depends on how I'm
right.
okay. I'm okay.
Let me wrap it up. Let me try to get this very close. Yes. So, mindset. We know this from the business world, and yes, I've studied business world. I needed to because I grew up with a complete hippie mentality. I grew up from how I grew up, my surroundings. Money was a bad thing. Business people was bad. Rich people were bad. Right. So I had to recondition my thinking, and realize money is just a form of energy. It's just energy. It's not good. It's not bad. But we put our emotions, especially artists, put emotions in there because so many people misuse this energy. Doesn't mean you have to misuse it. It's just energy there. So to cut ahead, for me, having income that I don't have to worry about paying my rent means I can serve better because then I have more energy to focus on my work. If you want to be a professional artist, let's stay to puppetry. If you want to be a professional puppeteer, you have to run a business. You have to make a business plan. You have to learn certain things, bookkeeping, and a lot of people immediately freeze. And I've seen so many highly talented puppeteers never getting out of the struggle mentality just because of the mindset. And go back to the circle, what was a minute ago. What I learned from studying business and listening to successful entrepreneurs, that they all agree that success is 95% mindset, 5% talent. Let's sink this in. 95% mindset, 5% talent. And if you would see, I share with my students my first puppets, they are not gorgeous, they're not great. I got here over 40 years, working continuously, reprogramming my brain, learning about business, how to make a show, how to sell the show, how to market the show, how to serve better, right? So this is something we need to train. Part of that is a vision quest, silence, meditation, keeping yourself in good shape, eating good food, doing workout, being focused, being disciplined, and yeah, so that is in our power. We have all this power. And then just think money is bad. Well, if you think money is evil, you will keep it away from you. Simple as that. What we don't like, we keep away. So you have this very typical love-hate relationship. They want it, but they hate it. Well, if you hate it, you're going to keep it away.
So it's some sort of law of attraction.
Yeah, it's a law of attraction. That's right.
Yeah.
And the thing about law of attraction, which has become such a new agey. Well, it's a mathematical equation. That is what law of attraction is about, and it's a very logical formula. I'm nice to you, you're gonna be nice to me.
Just a smile. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be nasty to you. You're gonna be run out here. That's what the law of attraction is, and so that's where mindset, focus your available energy on what you want, and things come towards you. So this is, of course, then a very important part of education. So people that went, for example, through my academy, they want to learn more, and then we have the master classes on light design, on stage design, on using different materials like Vorbla, shadow, masks, painting, mold making, right? But before we get there, now let's hone the mindset.
Yeah. You have to be there fully focused, otherwise you can't go there.
Yes. And now we can go back to how we started off, to childhood, because we do like one-on-one sessions. I do one with my new students there for the mastermind program. And I hear all the stories of how, and I hear the words people use where this flame was extinguished, why they have not been puppeteer, what is stopping them from old conditioning. So we have to become aware of this and take authority, take power, take the energy into our control.
And respark.
and respark,
This.
and then be clever. And then now we have to focus. Just things like what we say. I want to be a puppeteer, but I stop immediately here.
Yeah.
We eliminate the word "but," for example. Just I want to be puppeteer, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. Like my grandson who's starting to work. I will work. I will do whatever. I will stand up 100,000 times.
And try it again and again.
And that's how we all have gotten. That's the good news. We all can walk, right? We all have gotten here. We've gone this. So let's bring that back into our life, this power. And then if you want to be puppeteers, if you know some people that are successful in that, we can do the same.
Yeah.
Everyone can do it.
Did you think that your course is going to be that popular? When you started?
We started very small, just basically seeing what it would do, and I'd say I was pleasantly surprised that so many are really interested in that.
And organically grew.
Organically, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of business thinking. It's like people don't find us accidentally. We advertise, of course, and maybe very interestingly is, I'd say one thing we did right is that we also it starts with this is the first puppet, of course, that we create, our little body puppets that I designed for a specific performance, and there's a limited amount of puppeteers out there.
I don't know if it's visible. Maybe.
Limited amount of puppeteers in this world, but there's an unlimited amount of people that like to work with wood. So we offered that as a first piece for wood carving, and so we don't only attract puppeteers. We attract people that want to be creative again, that want to be creative, and I'm plugging into the puppeteer that we have all been. And then people are just, use the middle finger, not the ring finger. We plug into the this creative side, and then people start carving, and then they don't know what hits them, because then they get now all of a sudden familiarized with the world of puppetry, and before they know it, they're absolutely hooked, and they want to learn more and more and more, and but just a small percentage of the people that take our course actually start as puppeteers.
Yeah. Yeah, I made luckily lots of friends through the course, and then I'm learning from them as well. There are lots of wood carvers who had a connection and knowledge about wood carving. That was entirely new for me. Working with wood, really enjoy. Really enjoy. I think it's amazing, and once people, sorry.
I don't want to cut you off, but it's basically what came as the biggest actually full surprise to me is the effect of the community.
Yes.
So I just thought I'd just pass on all my knowledge through very well done, well scripted and executed videos, but every new course, people are part of a closed private Facebook community.
You're building a community.
Yeah, and we're building, but everyone that starts a course becomes part of this community, and how that took off. That took me by surprise. I didn't know at that point how powerful it is. Of course, now we are consciously nurturing it, but it accelerates the learning process because people see other people.
Yeah.
Have the same struggles like everyone else. So people share also their mistakes, so-called mistakes, their learning process.
Yeah.
And
champions or mistakes.
Yes. So we all help.
If someone has a question, then.
That's right. It's all answered, and yeah.
That's
so
amazing.
Very powerful.
And then once the puppet is ready, then here comes, we get to a very important part, animation. Is there a secret sauce around animation? What do you think?
Is there
animating puppets?
I didn't get the question. Sorry.
Is there a secret sauce? Secret sauce, secret potion
to animation. Sauce. Well, it's you've got familiar. I have this whole ABC of I call the ABC for the artist, and we have to realize what we do as puppeteers. What is it that we do when we present a show? We communicate, right? We communicate an idea, a thought, an inspiration, education. You know, we want to communicate something. The puppets is our means to that, and we have to build that first, and that's what is the big difference to normal theater, where you have actors that can do all this kind of stuff. We have to build our actors first. They're objects. They can be simple objects. You know, we can perform Shakespeare with his mugs, or we can spend the time, you know, carving an intricate marionette that takes a lot of time. We have to make the actors. They're dead. It's an object. How do we bring it alive? First, secret sauce, most important thing, breathing. It's, of course, equally important for the puppet and for the puppeteer. Let's start with the puppet. So we try to bring an object to life. You can argue now if it's a creation or if it's really life. Let's not go there now. But we want to portray to the audience this object is alive. What is the number one thing that makes dead and alive? It's breathing. If you don't breathe, you're dead. So the first thing a puppeteer has to learn is how to make the puppet breathe. It's a sad fact of our modern world. It's a consequence of all the things that we talked about, that 70 to 90% of people in modern society do not know how to breathe. People do shallow breathing and lift the shoulders. People do not know how to breathe from their diaphragm down here anymore. So, if you don't know how to breathe yourself, how on earth are you going to make your puppet breathe? So it starts there. So one of the secret sauces is learn how to breathe. Besides, it makes it easier for you to manipulate the puppet. It makes your whole life easier. You know, it gives you extra energy. It helps you when you do hand puppets and it starts to cramp. Correct breathing will help release that cramp, and so forth. So without going further into breathing, we have to learn to breathe and then make this object breathe. And when you do that, you can take a piece of fabric, make it breathe. It comes alive, right? In sculpting, many people know the movie Strings, that I was, the technical advisor and main puppeteer for. One big mistake I also failed to at that point, I didn't have enough knowledge. The mouth all closed. So a puppet mouth should be slightly open. Unless you, for some specific reason, want to close it. But it helps the puppet if the mouth is slightly open, then the puppet can breathe. Right? How do we now, what is the right movement? First of all, slow down to the speed of the puppet. That would be one strong advice I have. I see too many, especially also for, let's take this fellow over here. I call it the puppet wave, right? When people say, make the puppet wave, and people go like, hello, hello, hello. This is painful. People are getting used to this, but the speed of the puppet, this puppet is small. If you do this one, you can only do this because you're big and the puppet is small. No one waves like this. Very, 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 very rare case. So we need to slow down to the speed of life and the speed of the puppet. 95% of things, just slow down, let it breathe, give it the right attention. And then we need to study real life. Let's say walk, for example, right? Walk. We can express character by how we walk. And when I designed this special walking mechanism for the movie Strings, I spent weeks studying walking. I had a my workshop was close to a little walking path, and I put a tape on the window and watched how people walk. And I saw whoops, some walk like this, some almost floating, some do this one, and each of these walks has a different character. We as puppeteers have to be constantly observing our surroundings, animals, landscapes, people. When you stand at the bus stop, You're not bored. Puppeteers are never bored. We're always working 24 hours. You know, you stand there and you observe. Okay, and you have that's an old man. Well, try to read his story. What kind of old man is he? Or what makes you think he's an old man? And is he a happy old man? Is he a bitter old man? Try to read his story. Learn. And then when he goes into try to read. Take the little information and try to find the little cling. Look at that movement. Look at this gesture. Very strong. I can use this for my next character. Yeah? So that all conscious choices. A lot of intuition comes in. Also when you improvise, you know, like a musician, but it comes from a very aware look at the world. Always studying, always taking information in, and then consciously using them just the way you consciously use a certain technique of puppet to then consciously animate certain movements. You know, stillness, pauses, very important, are just as important as movement. Movement comes out of a pause. Slow down. Now I got your attention, didn't I? I didn't say anything. For that I'm just rumbling, and everything goes over your head. But silence. Stop. So all these things, you know, and helps you then to make this object come alive.
Thank you so much. My last question, maybe viewers, listeners would like to know, do you have a favorite type of puppet?
I love marionettes very much. I love marionettes, and there's something because they are a little bit disconnected. They're just these silken strings that
Energy.
and the illusion, it's almost this thing that really works by itself. You know, hand puppets have their own power because your hand is right in there, right? Rod puppets, but there's something about marionettes that intrigues me most. But it basically, I'm a storyteller, and that's what I like. I like to tell stories, and whatever puppet helps me to tell a specific story is my favorite one. And then people ask me, what is your favorite? It changes. You know, I have puppets that were inspired by my little boy when he was 2 years old, sitting in a mud puddle, naked, playing with and looking up to me with blue eyes and picture. That was then I made a beautiful wooden puppet out of this that I used for touring for many years. Was my absolute favorite. Well, he's now that tall and you know, new puppets. I made these puppets. We see them here of my parents. That was the last show. Maybe a good one to start with. Very personal, and so there's my mom is over here. There's my dad, and so he is now the younger version of him right in here. So this is one of my favorite puppets right now, and it was very sacred, very personal process to make those puppets. It's an honor of their life and this World War II generation that has left us now. The glasses I took from his deathbed. The coat is made from his last coat he had, and he was always wearing this very specific
Such a clever
hat, right?
Such a clever solution, and then it's very descriptive how we feel that in our mind, maybe from the mirror someone else is looking back, but in my mind I'm still feeling like a very young person. And then that's a very, very clever solution to express that. And I really thought that this is going to be my last question, but as soon as you started to talk about the storytelling.
So I have to hold the question. I just must finish. But I wanted to say is like that I think most of deep art comes from somewhere deep in here. It's something we relate to. Like these puppets, it's like it took me 20 years to be able to make these puppets. 20 years of constant searching, researching, analyzing, healing. Comes from and that makes them so extremely powerful, and that's as I said, I love to be storyteller. Storytelling comes from that, from a provincial. Borel said, best storytelling is provincial, meaning comes straight from your heart, and And the technique, all that we learn, just serves that purpose. And I want to throw in just a little warning also to the people like me that love techniques and stuff, that we don't get lost in technique. The technique always has to serve the purpose of storytelling. If that makes any sense. I just wanted to mention that because I think it's so important.
I think it's really
Sorry,
important.
I cut you off there.
No, I think everything you are saying, it's very important and meaningful, and connected to your answer. I was just thinking that, what do you think? It might be a weird question, but what do you think? Why humans like and need stories, listening to stories? What do you think? Why? What's the root of that
To manage
need?
life. To manage life. It's like, it's actually where we started off with, when I say, we all have been puppeteers, and when you watch kids play, it is not just having fun. It's also that, but it very quickly, and when you just leave kids there in kindergarten age, it starts, just observe them, and you will hear them processing life. Life, I love life. Life is great, but everyone that has lived a certain age knows it is a wave of constant ups and downs. There is, death is unavoidable. Illness is always there. There's traumas, like catastrophes of all kind of sorts, man-made or nature-made. So life is challenging. Life is challenging from the beginning you're born. I mean, just like being born is like, right? You women, it's like it's life is traumatic, and how do we deal with it? How do we get through it in the best possible way? Is by becoming conscious, by being aware, and we get that support through theater. Puppet theater, specifically.
Thank you so much. That was amazing interview. It's really magical being here. Not just Iceland, mainly in your workshop, amongst these wonderful creatures. And thank you so much for the interview.
Thanks for your time.